In the beginning of everything, when God created the spiritual world, He brought into existence angels of extraordinary beauty and power. Among them, two stood out: Lucifer, the brightest of all, and Saint Michael, whose name means "who is like God." The creation of the angels was an act of love, and each had a specific purpose, but above all, they were made to love and worship the Creator. Lucifer was the most radiant among the angels, endowed with unmatched intelligence and beauty. He was created to lead the celestial choirs in praise of God. However, his brilliance quickly became overshadowed. In his vanity and pride, Lucifer began to admire his own glory, questioning why he should serve God when he believed himself worthy of worship. In contrast, Saint Michael possessed a singular purity, a deep love for God, and complete obedience to the Creator. He was humble and faithful, even as one of the most powerful angels. His name, Michael, was already a testimony to his fidelity, for he always recognized that there was no one like God, and that all glory belonged to the Most High. When God revealed the plan to create man and woman, beings made in His image and likeness, and even more so, that the eternal Word would become incarnate to redeem them, Lucifer rebelled. He could not accept that human beings, made of flesh and blood, could be loved by God in such a way. This plan filled him with envy, as he desired all the glory for himself. From that moment, Lucifer led a rebellion in heaven, dragging a third of the angels with him. He exclaimed, "I will not serve," rejecting the divine plan and opposing God. The ensuing battle was more than a mere power struggle, it was a spiritual war of loyalty and truth against pride and deceit. Before continuing with this video, I would like to invite you to reflect with us on our spiritual life as Catholics. Many times, in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, we set prayer aside, even though we know how important it is for our spiritual life. With this in mind, I have created an ebook called Prayer Routine for Catholics. In it, I share simple and effective ways to integrate prayer into your daily life, bringing more serenity and closeness to God. This material is a valuable companion for those who wish to live their faith more intensely and consistently. The link to the ebook is in the first comment of this video. Click the link and receive your ebook right now. May God bless you. Seeing Lucifer's rebellion, Saint Michael raised his voice, echoing throughout the heavenly courts, "Who is like God?" His words were a cry of fidelity, a challenge to Lucifer's pride and his followers. It was the first act of spiritual warfare, and Saint Michael positioned himself as the great warrior of God, leading the heavenly hosts. The battle was fierce, but Saint Michael, clothed with the Lord's strength, led the faithful angels in an epic clash against Lucifer and his minions. With the sword of justice and truth, Michael fought courageously and determinedly. He was not merely defending heaven, but the very name of God, His holiness, and His unblemished glory. After an intense battle, Lucifer and the rebel angels were defeated and cast out of heaven. Saint Michael, the prince of the heavenly hosts, had triumphed. Heaven celebrated his victory, for divine justice had prevailed, and the faithful angels remained firm in God's presence, worshiping Him eternally. However, Lucifer's fall was not the end of his rebellion. He became known as Satan, the adversary, and continued his war, now against humanity. Since then, he and his demons have sought to lead men astray from God's path, tempting them to sin and pride, just as he himself had fallen. Saint Michael, however, did not abandon the fight. He remains the Church's defender, the protector of the faithful, and the celestial warrior combating evil. His intercession is powerful, and he is invoked in spiritual battles even today, especially in moments of great danger and temptation. Saint Michael's role goes beyond his initial victory over Lucifer. The Church teaches that he is the angel of death, guiding souls to heaven and defending righteous souls at the final judgment. He is the one who, in God's name, protects the children of God against the attacks of evil forces. The traditional prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel, composed by Pope Leo XIII after a terrifying vision of the battle between good and evil, is a testament to his importance in spiritual warfare. The prayer asks, "Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the snares of the devil." This prayer is a fervent supplication that acknowledges the reality of the spiritual war we are engaged in. The Catholic Church has always taught that the world is a spiritual battleground, and Saint Michael is our celestial general, fighting alongside us against the malicious onslaughts of Satan. In many Marian apparitions, such as in Fatima, the presence of Saint Michael is highlighted as an essential protector in the struggle against the forces of darkness. His mission is to protect the Church, strengthen the faithful, and lead them to true worship of God, away from the lies and seductions of the enemy. Since ancient times, Saint Michael has been venerated as a defender of truth and faith. In Israel, he was considered the guardian of the chosen people, a figure of spiritual leadership who defended the nation against visible and invisible enemies. This tradition continued in the Church, which recognizes him as the universal protector of the faithful. In various supernatural manifestations, Saint Michael has appeared to warn men of spiritual dangers and to encourage them to follow Christ's path faithfully. At Mount Gargano in Italy, his apparition brought a powerful call to conversion and trust in divine protection. The importance of Saint Michael is also evident in the Church's sacramentals. Saint Michael's salt, for instance, is used to bless homes and repel evil. These practices reflect the belief in the Archangel's intercessory power and the reality of the divine protection he offers to those who invoke him with faith. In the Book of Revelation, Saint Michael is described as the great commander of the heavenly armies, leading the final battle against the dragon, which is Satan. This combat symbolizes Christ's definitive victory and his angels over all the forces of evil, revealing Saint Michael's ongoing role in the history of salvation. Devotion to Saint Michael has always been a source of inspiration for the faithful, reminding them that the spiritual struggle is real and constant. He is an example of unwavering fidelity and absolute courage, demonstrating that true victory is only achieved when we submit to God's will. Saint Michael's humility is a direct contrast to Lucifer's pride. While one sought to exalt himself above God, the other always recognized the Creator's supremacy. This humility is a valuable lesson for all Christians, who are called to renounce pride and trust in God's grace. Throughout the centuries, Saint Michael has been invoked by popes, saints, and the faithful in times of crisis. Saint Thomas Aquinas called him the Prince of the Heavenly Armies, recognizing his authority and power in combating the forces of darkness. He is the protector of the faith and defender of the weak. The spiritual combat that Saint Michael wages alongside the faithful is a constant battle for the human soul. Satan seeks to lead men away from the path of holiness, but Saint Michael intercedes so that God's grace may prevail. He is the defender of God's people, protecting them against the snares of the evil one. Saint Michael's name resounds as a constant challenge to the devil's pride. His mission is always to remind the enemy that God is the Most High, and that no one can take his place. This spiritual battle is fought every day, both in the hearts of men and in the world around us. The Archangel is often depicted as a warrior with a sword in hand, crushing Satan underfoot. This image symbolizes not only God's victory over evil but also the victory each Christian can achieve alongside Saint Michael, resisting temptations and remaining firm in faith. Saint Michael is not just a distant protector, he is a close and personal ally in the spiritual struggle. The Church teaches that we can invoke him at any time, especially when facing temptations, spiritual dangers, or challenges of faith. He is always ready to help, as his mission is to defend God's glory and protect his children. Saint Michael's role in church history is vast and multifaceted. He has appeared at critical moments, such as in Rome when a plague ravaged the city and the Pope saw Saint Michael atop the Castel Sant'Angelo, guarding the city. His presence brought hope and renewed the confidence of the faithful. This confidence in Saint Michael is based on his unwavering fidelity to God. He did not succumb to Lucifer's pride, nor did he hesitate to defend heaven. His firmness is an inspiration to Christians, who are called to resist sin with the same determination. The battle between Saint Michael and Lucifer is a reminder that evil will not prevail. God's power is sovereign, and even the strongest fallen angels cannot withstand the power of the Most High. Saint Michael's victory is a symbol of Christ's ultimate victory over sin, death, and the devil. In the Church's liturgy, Saint Michael is especially honored on September 29th, the Feast of the Archangels. This celebration emphasizes the importance of angels in spiritual life and highlights Saint Michael's role as the defender of faith and protector of God's people. Invoking Saint Michael is an act of trust and divine protection. He is a powerful intercessor, capable of strengthening us in spiritual battle and leading us to triumph over sin. The Church has always taught that, with Saint Michael's help, we can resist evil and remain faithful to the Lord. The spiritual battle is a constant reality, and Saint Michael's victory over Lucifer teaches us to always be vigilant. Prayer, the sacraments, and devotion to Saint Michael are powerful weapons against the forces of darkness. Before continuing with this video, I would like to invite you to reflect with us on our spiritual life as Catholics. Many times, in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, we set prayer aside, even though we know how important it is for our spiritual life. With this in mind, I have created an ebook called Prayer Routine for Catholics. In it, I share simple and effective ways to integrate prayer into your daily life, bringing more serenity and closeness to God. This material is a valuable companion for those who wish to live their faith more intensely and consistently. The link to the ebook is in the first comment of this video. Click the link and receive your ebook right now. May God bless you. He is the protector of those who seek holiness and true love for God. Just as Saint Michael proclaimed who is like God, before Lucifer's pride, we are called to proclaim the same truth in our lives. The final victory has already been won by Christ, and Saint Michael is the faithful warrior who helps us partake in this victory through faith and obedience to God. Saint Michael is seen in the Church as the perfect model of obedience. While Lucifer chose disobedience, seeking his own glory, the Archangel always remained faithful to God's will, even when it meant engaging in a risky and decisive battle. He teaches us that true strength is found not in pride, but in submission to the divine will. Throughout history, the Church has witnessed many apparitions and interventions of Saint Michael, especially in times of crisis. In the 5th century, for example, during a plague that struck Rome, Pope Saint Gregory the Great called for a penitential procession. At the end of this procession, Saint Michael was seen atop the Castel Sant'Angelo, sheathing his sword as a sign that the plague had ended. Another significant apparition of Saint Michael occurred at Monte Gargano, Italy, in the 5th century. In this apparition, he requested the construction of a church in his honor, promising ongoing protection to those who prayed there with faith. Since then, Monte Gargano has become a place of pilgrimage, where many miracles and healings have been attributed to the Archangel's intercession. Devotion to Saint Michael spread throughout the world, with countless churches, monasteries, and shrines dedicated to him. The most famous of these is Mont Saint Michel in France, built on an island that becomes a peninsula at low tide. The history of this abbey is filled with accounts of miracles attributed to the Archangel. Saint Michael is also considered the patron of the military and police forces, precisely because of his role as a defender against evil. His figure represents courage, protection, and justice, serving as a symbol of hope for those on the front lines, protecting lives and maintaining order. In the spiritual context, Saint Michael is invoked to protect homes from the enemy's attacks. In many Catholic families, it is common to pray Saint Michael's prayer at the end of the Rosary or at the beginning of each day, as a way to consecrate the home to the Archangel's protection and to ward off evil influences. Devotion to Saint Michael teaches us that we are not alone in the fight against evil. God has given us a powerful ally, a celestial warrior who, in the name of the Lord, battles on our behalf. It is a call to trust, even in the midst of difficulties and temptations, knowing that we have a protector in heaven who intercedes for us constantly. In Saint Michael's battle against Lucifer, it becomes clear that evil is defeated not merely by force but by faithfulness to God's truth. This reminds us that our struggle against sin must be rooted in prayer, fasting, and obedience to God's word, not in our own strength or human strategies. A powerful example of Saint Michael's role in spiritual combat can be found in the life of Saint Joan of Arc, who testified to receiving direct messages from the Archangel. She was guided by him in her battles and decisions, maintaining her trust in God even in the face of the greatest adversities, always believing that Saint Michael was by her side. Similarly, many saints and mystics of the Church have had visions of Saint Michael. Saint Faustina Kowalska, for instance, frequently mentioned the Archangel's presence in her visions. He appeared as a defender of divine mercy and as a spiritual soldier, ready to protect souls from Satan's snares. Devotion to Saint Michael is not just an ancient tradition, but a contemporary necessity. We live in a world filled with spiritual challenges and constant temptations. The battle waged between Saint Michael and Lucifer continues in our hearts, in society, and even within the Church itself, demanding vigilance and prayer. Saint Michael is also associated with the moment of death. The Church believes that he assists the souls of the righteous as they depart from this world, helping them to overcome the final snares of the devil and enter God's presence. This belief is expressed in funeral prayers, where the Archangel is invoked to guide souls to paradise. The image of Saint Michael crushing the devil's head is a visual reminder that God's power is incomparable and that the final victory is assured. When the faithful face spiritual challenges, this image serves as encouragement, showing that God's strength, manifested through his angels, is sufficient to defeat any evil. Saint Michael's role in spiritual warfare reminds us of the importance of being always armed with faith, prayer, and the sacraments. He exemplifies what it means to be a true spiritual warrior, not only in open battle but also in daily perseverance and defense of divine truth. In an increasingly secularized world, where evil is often relativized, Saint Michael represents a firm and absolute resistance to sin. His presence teaches us that good must not yield to evil, but confront it with courage and trust in divine grace, knowing that the Lord is the one who truly leads us to victory. The demons, having been defeated by Saint Michael, were cast into the depths, but they still try in every way to lead the faithful away from God's path. This is why Saint Michael is especially invoked in exorcisms and deliverance prayers, for his name and presence bring terror to the forces of darkness. For Christians, Saint Michael's combat against Lucifer is an example of what it means to be truly faithful. He teaches us that even in the face of the greatest temptation or danger, we must fully trust in God and proclaim his greatness above all, always echoing the "Who is like God" in our hearts. The spiritual war waged by Saint Michael is not merely a historical or mythical event but a present spiritual reality. He is active and present in the world, helping those who, with faith, invoke his protection. More than that, he reminds us that God never abandons his children on the battlefield. The Archangel is not just a warrior but also an ambassador of God's mercy. He shows us that divine justice is inseparable from God's love. His mission is always to promote God's glory, to ward off evil forces, and to help the faithful remain steadfast in the truth. Saint Michael is often depicted with scales, symbolizing divine justice. This reflects his role in the judgment of souls, but it also reminds us that God is the supreme judge and that we will all be called to account for our actions before him. This motivates us to seek holiness and faithfully follow Christ's teachings. Saint Michael's victory over Lucifer is, above all, a victory of humility over pride. While Lucifer sought to elevate himself above God, Saint Michael always acknowledged his position as a servant of the Most High, teaching us that true greatness is found in humility and obedience to God. In the scriptures, Saint Michael's name appears several times, always in contexts of battle and defense. In Daniel, he is the protector of Israel. In Revelation, he is the leader of the heavenly hosts who defeat the dragon. These passages reinforce his mission as the defender of God's people and as the protector of souls. Christian spirituality emphasizes the need to invoke Saint Michael, especially in times of temptation and spiritual danger. Praying to him is a sign of trust in divine protection and the assurance that good will always overcome evil, even when circumstances seem unfavorable. Saint Michael is an example of total fidelity to God. His heavenly life is a constant testimony that holiness is achieved not by human power but by divine grace and complete submission to God's will. He is, therefore, a model of holiness for all Christians. The battle waged by Saint Michael at the beginning of creation continues today in the life of every believer. He encourages us to keep our faith firm, even in the face of the greatest spiritual challenges. His presence assures us that, with God's help and that of His angels, we can overcome all difficulties. When faced with temptations or tribulations, we can remember Saint Michael's fight against Lucifer and know that, like him, we are also called to defend God's glory and truth. The figure of Saint Michael as a celestial warrior is an invitation for every Christian to also become a soldier of the faith. The Archangel teaches us to fight courageously, not with our own strength, but clothed in the armor of God, as St. Paul says, "Take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day." Ephesians 6 verse 13. St. Michael's battle leads us to reflect on the importance of prayer in the Christian life. To overcome the forces of evil, it is essential to cultivate a life of constant and faithful prayer. Prayer brings us into communion with God and attracts the Archangel's protection and that of all the angels who guard us on our path to holiness. In times of tribulation and spiritual crises, the faithful are called to intensify their devotion to Saint Michael. He is a sign of God's protective presence in the world, especially when the forces of evil seem to prevail. Devotion to the Archangel is an act of faith and hope in the victory of good, trusting in God's power. Saint Michael is a guardian of souls, especially at the hour of death when spiritual battle reaches its climax. He is invoked to defend the soul against the final temptations and to lead it to judgment before God. His mission of guiding souls reflects his deep obedience and love for the Creator. Devotion to Saint Michael is a practice that transcends cultures and nations, revealing the universality of his role as defender of God's people. From America to Asia, churches and shrines have been erected in his honor, demonstrating the unshakable trust of the faithful in his powerful intercession. The saints of the Church, such as Saint Pio of Pietrelcina and Saint Faustina, encouraged a special devotion to Saint Michael, recognizing his role in protecting souls from the attacks of the evil one. They taught that by invoking the Archangel, we are seeking help in our struggle for holiness and a life full of love for God. Saint Michael is an example of victory through humility and service. His battle against Lucifer shows us that true greatness lies in submitting to God's will, acknowledging that all power and glory belong to God. He inspires us to renounce pride and to seek holiness through obedience and faith. Even in the midst of adversity, the figure of Saint Michael reminds us that God's presence is more powerful than any attack of evil. He is the protector of our faith and the defender of our souls, always ready to intercede for us and to help us in our spiritual journey. Saint Michael's battle continues to inspire us to fight for God's kingdom here on earth. Just as he overcame Lucifer, we are called to overcome evil in our lives, rejecting sin and remaining faithful to the divine commandments. The Christian life is a spiritual battle, and Saint Michael is our guide in this fight. Saint Michael's testimony motivates us to be firm in faith, especially in the face of the seductions of the modern world. He teaches us to reject the idolatry of power and pride and to choose the path of humility and obedience to God, always trusting in the victory of good. When we invoke Saint Michael, we are not only asking for protection against the devil's attacks but also strengthening our faith and renewing our commitment to God. He is a sign of God's loving presence in our lives, a protector who reminds us that good always prevails, no matter how dark the circumstances may seem. Saint Michael the Archangel, the who is like God, invites us to live with courage, faith, and hope, reminding us that true victory belongs to God. He calls us to move forward in the spiritual battle with confidence, knowing that, alongside him and all of God's angels, we can face any battle and ultimately achieve eternal glory. Saint Michael the Archangel, pray for us.